Well, today I'm decided to work on a whip, a work in progress. And what that is, which one I'm doing is baby quilt for my friend. I was going to try to do this live, but I don't have enough subscribers, so I need you guys to subscribe to my videos and it's totally free. And what happens is when I make content, you'll just be able to be notified that I made something. But like I said, I don't have enough viewers to go live, which I'm really close to, but that's fine. I'll just go ahead and record this and you could just see it at your leisure. But like I said, today I'm going to be working on a whip. I have lots of whips and UFOs, but today's a whip. I'm working on a baby quilt for a friend of mine's. Her daughter just had a baby. Actually, it's her second baby. I made one for the first one, and now she has a second baby, and so I'm making this baby quilt for her. And the pattern I decided to use is one of the 3-yard quilt patterns. I was commissioned through my guild to make one for a giveaway, and so I still had the pattern, and I was looking through my patterns, and I remember that was really quick and easy pattern. The 3-yard quilts pattern is a pattern you can find. They have lots of books out there that do 3 yards, and what it is you get the 3 yards of fabric, and with those 3 yards of fabric, you're able to make a quilt top. And this is the pattern I'm doing. It's called Louvers, Louvers. And what I like about this pattern is it has like almost like it's like dimensional, and I just thought that's really cool. Now, with doing one of these patterns, or with most patterns, it's good to try to choose a fabric that I've said before that has a lot of contrast. So you're looking for a light, a medium, and a dark. The fabrics that I pulled for this project, I actually my friend's daughter went through fabrics with me on at JoAnn's, and so all the fabric for the top is from JoAnn's. The backing I got from my previous video I did where a quilt store was going out of business, and so I got backing fabric for that. But she wanted these sagey green tones, and so this was my fabric number one. This is my fabric number two, and this is my fabric number three. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that, like I said, you have the light, medium, dark to have the contrast. And these are kind of close. So I'm hoping that I still am able to get the illusion with these three fabrics. Well, this one right here is definitely um, a lighter, but these ones right here, they kind of read close to each other. So I'm hoping that we don't have any problems with that. Okay, so step one in this pattern, I can't give you the cutting instructions, but because it's a paid pattern. But in this, the first step in here is to making all your half square triangles. So with your half square triangles, I had to use fabric number two and fabric number three and make half square triangles, which I've already started. Like I said, it's a whip, meaning work in progress. I've started making this already. So I already have all my half square triangles out of the two fabrics. And then what I needed to do also is in the cutting is I have this fabric here, which is my fabric number two. And then what I'm going to be making is in step two is making units A and B. And it says refer to the assembly. So I'm just using, um, okay, so I'm making unit A. And unit A is I'm taking my half square triangles and this fabric here, and I'm sewing them together, sewing these together to make my unit A. Yep, refer to B. What I like about this pattern too is they give you really good directions. So this is right here making the half square triangles, and they tell you how to put the fabric right together, draw the line, sew on both sides, cut it apart, and you have your half square triangles. Now what I'm making right now is this right here where I'm putting these two units together. And so I have my stack of those units right here that I will be putting together. These are the half square triangles in these, putting these together to make unit A. And to make unit B, this is unit B right here, these two. And what you're going to be doing is sewing these two pieces together. And so it was in a long strip with the fabric. You have the two units. The two units are here, right sides together. And then I got to stitch down here and then cut it apart to make unit B. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think that's probably my first thing to do is I'm going to go ahead and sew these two together so that I can get my unit B. Okay, so let me turn you over here closer to the sewing machine, and let's get started. Okay. Okay. So again, if you're a beginner in quilting, this is one of those very easy patterns that are out there for beginner quilters. You're only using 3 yards of fabric to make your quilt. If you want to make it bigger than 3 yards, want to make it bigger than the initial pattern. Let me see. Does it tell me what size it's going to be? This is finishes at 43.5 by 61.5, which is a pretty nice size. And the directions also have on here if you want to make it a twin size or if you want to make it a queen or king size. It has the instructions on how to increase the amount of units to make the quilt bigger. So what I'm using is my Juki, what is it, TL18QVP. And right now I'm just sewing 1/4 of an inch. And so I just sewed that together. And then what I'll be doing next is pressing. I keep trying to make myself stop saying iron. I'm pressing this to the dark. I'm be pressing it to the dark. And then once I press it to the dark, then I will be cutting these into sections to make, again, this unit. Okay. So I have another one. So what it is you have 4 of these that you're doing. I already did 2, and that's how I was able to get these already. So here's I'm doing the other 2 right now. Again, like I said, I'm working on trying to get some of these projects that I said I was going to be doing, either for somebody or for my guild quilt show. Again, I said before that I belong to like, I think 3 or 4 guilds. But 2 of them I'm really active in, and the other one is online. But this one that I'm sewing all my quilts for right now is for Heritage Quilters. We do a biannual quilt show in February, and so we had one in 2023, and that was our first one since COVID. And so now we're going to be having one in 2025. And in our guild, everybody's amazed. There's only 12 members in our guild, and we're able to put on a quilt show. And we do have roughly 100 quilts in the show, and that's based on the majority of us um, produce, at least 10 quilts for the show. Okay, here it is. I just did another one. Again, I will be folding this forward here and pressing my seams. So I will go ahead and start doing that. Hopefully you can see everything. I'm trying different equipment. So I got, so you can see me. I've been trying to get different equipment. So I got a different stand. I think I bought like 3 or 4 different, no, yeah, maybe about 3 different stands. Let me see. In this pattern, does it tell me which way to press my seam? And it doesn't say. A lot of times in patterns too, they'll tell you which way to press your seams. Let me see. Sew together, long edge, repeat. But it doesn't say. It doesn't say which way to press your seam. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and press towards the dark. That's always popular. So I will press my seams to the dark. Let me see. I got a thread here. Cut these threads. And I got my ironing. And I'm going to give this a quick press. All right. I hope you're hearing everything well. Again, I'm trying, different equipments. Like I got got a mic and more lighting. And okay, here's one. It's nice and pressed. And put that there. And we'll do the second one. And then we'll be ready to cut those apart. And then I'll be working on, this is unit B. And so the next I'll be working on unit A. I know it's kind of backwards, but I decided to do this because I felt like this was quick and easy to work on this, to get this done. I think it would have been easier to go this way. Some people say, um, different parts of the quilting process that they just don't like. And a lot of people say they don't like the ironing. I don't mind the ironing part of the quilt process. Okay, so we got the second one done. I don't even mind the hand stitching part when they want you to hand stitch stuff. I don't even mind that part. What I don't like, the part of quilting that I don't like, is squaring up. Because I'm making this one project for my guild, and it's for an opportunity quilt we're using to raise funds for a scholarship fund. And so I'm helping put the quilt together, and oh my gosh, there's so many pieces of that quilt that has to be squared up. You have flying geese, have square triangles, tons of them. So you're just spending all your time squaring up blocks, squaring up blocks, squaring up blocks, and getting all those little shredded and stuff. And oh my gosh, it's so time consuming. Okay, back to this. back to our program. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to optimize time, I'm going to put these underneath each other. Let me see. Let's see. Can you see? I'm going to, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut them apart separately. I don't want no mistakes. No mistakes. So let me cut off the end. Make sure everything is straight. Let me see. This ruler is kind of short. I'm not going to use it. I'll use my big ruler. Move some of this stuff out the way. This ruler, I use this a lot. And this is a 6 by 24. I love this ruler because my cutting mat is the length of 24. So when I put this down, I know that I'm going to get the full length of my cutting mat to cut whatever it is I'm cutting. I got the full length of my cutting mat to keep everything straight. Okay, ruler straight, fabric straight. Let me see. I think I'm going to use the line. I was trying to figure out what line to use. I'm using the lines to my ruler, the mats, and the fabric, having everything straight. And my rotary cutter. Okay, so I cut off the end. Now the pattern has me making how many of these? I mean, what's the size? 6.5. So I got to cut these to 6.5. Since I'm right-handed, I got to put this over on this side. This seems like it's going to take a minute to do all these. Sorry, but it has to be done. 6.5. Six and a half. Okay. I guess the chunks are so big, but that 6.5 that your doesn't take too many cuts to get it done. And let's see. Straighten out my fabric. What I'm doing is I'm putting it at one of the lines on my board and coming over a half an inch. Coming over a half an inch. And then because my ruler is at 6 inch, so it's 6 inch, so I'm coming over a half an inch from on my mat. And it's good to take your time because you want it, I mean, you're cutting your fabric and you want it to be right the first time. So just take your time. Take your time. Yep. I think in quilting, one of the things, and this is what you have left over. one of the things I like about, the whole process too is, you are taking time, you know, and I'm sure like back in the day when when the ladies used to quilt and all they had to quilt was, um, fabric scraps from like an old dress or an apron, and they used that fabric, my cut off, so that I have a straight edge to start with. Then I'm going to turn it over again because I'm right-handed, and I need to use the mat this way in order to get an accurate cut. But I know, I could just imagine them making their new outfits or a blanket or whatever out of those fabrics and being able um, to reflect on you know what they used to have, what that garment used to have or used to be in prior to what they're making right, what they're making it out of. And with that, reflecting, you're just taking your time. I don't know if I'm just rambling about nothing, but yeah, in essence, with quilting, you just, take your time, enjoy the process. Some people just like want to quick, 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 get it done, get it done, get it done. But, you got to slow down and enjoy the process. So I'm almost done with all of these. And after this, I think this is the last of the cutting that I had to do because the other pieces are all cut apart. So at that point, all I'll be doing at this is assembling the blocks, and then it has a border. The pattern calls for 3 borders, but I'm only going to do 2 because, again, it's a baby quilt and it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need all that. Doing 3 borders, that's a bit much. So I will do the 2 borders as I have planned, and then we will evaluate it at that point to see, do I want to do some more or not. Okay, so this is supposed to yield me 24, I think. Yep, cut into 24. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm sure I probably did 12 in the other one. So that is my 24 unit B. Now I need to do my 24 unit A's. And again, my A is sewing my half square triangles to this print here. And I just need to make sure that I am referring back to the, and you know what? I'm going to sit down and see how my block is going to turn out. So let me see if you can see this. My block B and making my block A. So let me put that there. My block A. And my block A is going to be this with this. So this is how my block is going to look. And hopefully that's enough contrast. So let me go ahead and assemble these two pieces, which will be my block A. I have them all pinned together, so all I need to do is sew. Okay, I just hope I did that right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and stitch the first one and then look at it again because I just want to make sure my sewing machine came unthreaded. Okay, here we go. Again, we're at 1/4 of an inch. Okay, cut these threads off. And let's see, this is the first one, and it's going to go on this one, and I think it's right. So you know what? I'm going to give you a little preview, and I'm going to stitch this block together so you can see what each block is going to look like. Okay. Generally, I am a pinner, but I did not pin this block together because it's an easy, for me, it's an easy block, but I did not pin it together. But this is what it's going to look like, right? Let me look at it. Yeah. Yep. This is what it's going to look like. And this is what I was talking about, the contrast. I was hoping that this was enough contrast that you can see, but it's really close, really close. Okay, I went ahead and this is what I did so far is I stitched this. This is unit A, this is unit B. So with A, I attached the half square triangle to this unit here. And then what I did was when I stitched these two together at 1/4 inch, when I pressed these ones down and I turned this one up, and that way my seams would nest in the middle. I don't know if you could see that, but I wanted to nest my seams. There you go. I nested my seams right there. And so generally, well, sometimes you might want to pin it. But this, I mean, it's just the one seam. If I had more than one seam, I'd have definitely pinned this together. But with this being that, what it does is the reason why you want to pin because you want all your points to match up. But my points did really, really good. They matched up very well, all my points, because it was just, of doing, the you're nesting your seams, one going one way, one to go other way, and it helps to the bulk to move around to a point where your seams can come flat like that. So let's do the next one. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just sew up all of these. Make all my unit A's, which again, I need 24 of them. Now what I'm doing is called, let me show you what I'm doing. What I'm doing is called chain stitching. And that is when you're you sew one, and then when you get to the end, you stop, pull the second one up. But this is the key, is you want to do a couple stitches in between the two to make the chain. Sometimes people will butt them up right close to each other. But when you do that, you don't get the chain and you're cutting into the fabric, versus cutting the thread. So you want just one or two threads in between each one of these. One of the things that I love about this machine too is it has the knee lift. I am so spoiled with that knee lift because when I go and my travel sewing machine is a brother. I don't know which one it is, but it's just one of those basic brothers. I actually bought it from Costco, and I just use it for traveling. So and it's just bare bone basic. I mean, it doesn't have a cutter. It doesn't have the knee lift. It's it's just a basic machine. But what I do like about it is, not only can you do straight stitches, but it has a lot of decorative stitches for a basic model machine. And I think I bought it at Costco for like $100. And a friend of mine told me she got the same one at Walmart. You know, I don't know what Walmart's prices are, but at Costco, it was Christmas time and it was $100. And I was just like, sold. Because what I like too is this machine here, it's an all metal machine. And, it's just way too heavy to be trying to take to retreats and sew alongs and stuff. I have several different groups that I get together with on a weekly basis where I'm taking a sewing machine. And so to take this big heavy thing, it just, you know, I just wouldn't want to do that. So that machine is very lightweight, and like I said, it's a easy machine to use to learn on. I actually bought one for my daughter because she wanted to learn how to sew, and so I got her one, but I don't think she's used it. But she doesn't live in, and we don't live in the same town. She's older, and so I live in the Central Valley. She actually lives in the Los Angeles area. So I go see her from time to time, but she did sign up to take a class, and I was telling her there's a lot of places in Los Angeles that she can go to learn to sew, but she hasn't gotten that bug yet. So, man, it's a lot. I wonder how many have I done so far? It's a lot. So once I sew all of these, then I'll cut them all apart. And then I don't think I'm going to iron them because I think I'm going to do just like how I did the other one. It's just the one seam. So I will just push that one seam to the opposite of my block B and just sew them together. And then I'll just press the whole unit at once. Okay, I think we only got like 4 or 5 left. Okay. Yep. This is one thing I like doing. It's chain piecing. I don't know. I just feel like when I chain piece, I'm getting a lot accomplished. I'm being multitasking because I'm doing it one right after the other. Alrighty, that was the last one. So now I have my whole chain. See, these are my chains. That's why I call it chain piecing. I've chained them all together. And like I said, you do a few of them between. So when you cut these, you're cutting the threads and you're not cutting into your fabrics. Okay. So the next thing I like to pull up is what is this called? This the Gypsy quilter. I love this thing here, the Gypsy quilter. I got this in a Soul Sampler box that I did with Fat Quarter Shop. My husband had got me a subscription to their Soul Sampler box and one year for Christmas. And what it is they will send you a box of fabric and different notions once a month. And so it was fun, every month getting a box, not knowing what am I going to get? What am I get? So this was one of the things that I got and I love it. And what it is you use an old rotary blade and you put that inside. It has a screwdriver here where you take the back out here. You take this back out here and put your old rotary cutter in here. And so I like this one. They have other ones out there that has a blade in them already, but you can't replace the blade. And this right here is just, I love it because you just boom, and you're just cut them all apart instead of getting some scissors. I know some people, they'll use their snips or whatever, which I have the snips, but this is so, I don't know, satisfying to me just to do this. And I just pile them up right there, all my pieces. And this is so quick. But like I said, the key to doing this is having those few threads, because if your pieces are too close together, then when you're cutting, you'll, like I said, potentially be cutting into your fabrics, and you don't want that. So you just want to cut these few threads. And with chain piecing, what it does too is it helps you save your thread. Because, when you're generally sewing and you get to the end of a seam and you'll have like this long piece of thread, and so after a time, all those long pieces of thread, they do, I don't, you can call it, they do add up. So what I'm going to do next is on here is I'm going to take all of my unit A's and put them with all my unit B's. So again, I don't think I'm going to pin these. That would just take too long for this video. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put the two pieces together as I go. Let's see. So if I lay this one this way and this one this way, I just want to look again, make sure, yep, it's going to come out. So I will just try and figure out the easiest way that I can just grab them and go. And again, I will be chain piecing these. So I will start at the top. Let's see. I will start at the top and I'll sew down here at 1/4 of an inch. This one is already pressed down, so I'm just going to push this one up to make my nesting seam and sew all the way down, and I'll do all 24 of them. So here we go. Well, 23 because we already did one. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, but my thread came out again. I don't know if I'm just doing stuff under here a lot. Get some slack. And let me put you down here so you can see what I'm doing. And I am rethreading my needle because I did something. And this sewing machine actually has a what do you call it? Let me do this. It has a self-threading needle gauge thing here, but I have never been able to figure out how to use it. And I mean, I got the instruction books. I know how to do everything else on this machine, but I never learned how to use that thing. And oh gosh, I'm having a moment here trying to get it threaded. But I just threaded the old-fashioned way because I can't figure that thing out. And I'm sure if I just took I tried, and I'm sure if I took a moment to really concentrate, like if it was really an issue, I would learn. But to me, it's not an issue. No issue. So I'm just going to be careful when I go across that seam. I've pinched it together because I'm not pinning. Get to the end, stop, get my next one ready, my unit B, my unit A, right sides together, give myself a few stitches in between my block so I can chain piece. I'll take 2 or 3 stitches into my project, stop, put my seam the way I want it, smash it down, and then when I get up there, I let my finger needles, my finger pins, and that's how we do it. So again, I'm going to take this, and we'll just keep doing this over and over and over again. But yeah, I really believe that one of the reasons that I don't get, like I said at the beginning, I have like I think 28 whips, and one of my problems is with, you know, not, getting my whips done is all these other projects that come up that not only prevent me from getting my old projects done, but, you know, I have all these new projects that come up, or quilt sew-alongs, or people having babies, or, you know, but just other projects that come up, craft shows, and I can't get my old projects done. But then if I start a new project, that just adds to the pile because something else will come up, and you know, it's like squirrel, you know, and then you're constantly, all these different projects. And so, some of these people who, at the end of the year and they show all the stuff that they did, I'm just like, how? But I know, some people, this is their full-time job. This is not my full-time job. I do this for pleasure. I do this for my guild. I do this for, for fun. I'm not trying to make any money doing this. You know, like I said, I'm doing this baby quilt for a friend whose daughter had a baby, and this is their second baby. Like I said, I made one for the first baby, so I'm not doing this for money. And people ask me sometimes, well, how much do you sell your quilts for? I have never sold a quilt. I've raffled quilts off. I've given quilts away for raffle. I put my quilts in shows, magazines, so I've gotten awards for my quilts. You know, I've allowed, people to use some of my quilted art, my art quilts for displays, but I've never, never sewed a quilt. I just, you know, I don't know if it's because I just haven't, I don't know, it's just not me. And, or I'm like, I don't know if I've gotten to that point where I think, oh yeah, I just want to sell this one. I haven't gotten to that point. I don't know if I ever will get to a point where I'm just like, oh, I want to sell this, you know. But as far as, some people say, oh, well, then make me a quilt. That's not going to happen either. Like I said, I have 28 UFOs, and some of those quilts are for people that I said that I would make them a quilt, and is mainly family, you know, mainly family that I said I was going to make them a quilt, and I started making the quilt and just hadn't finished it. So, and I wonder too, with the whole UFO whip thing, whether, what do you consider, when does it become a UFO? Because I understand the whip is work in progress. So that means I am working on it. Like this one, I am working on it. This is something that started this year, wasn't something from last year or something like that, you know. And so this is something that I'm working on. So it's a whip. Now, with my UFOs, I really consider those ones that I have started on those past years, and they're not done. So when does a whip actually start to fall into the UFO category? You know, is it you haven't worked on it in a month, a week, 2 months, years? I know there's some that, I hear people, oh, I started this one 5 years ago. And I'm thinking, yikes, you know. And I hoped I didn't get to that, you know, was one of those type of people, but I think I am. I'm starting to be one of those people. And I've only been doing the quilting, I've only started quilting. It's been, I think it's 8 years now that I've been doing this, that I picked this up. And I really enjoy it. I'm surprised I didn't start sooner. My grandmother was a quilter. My mother does not sew at all. So it wasn't like there was a sewing machine constantly going in my house. That wasn't the case because my mother did not sew. And so, but every time I would go visit my grandmother, she always was sewing some quilt for somebody. And she made me two quilts, and she made a baby quilt for my son. And so, but all my cousins and all the relatives, they all have quilts from my grandmother. Yep, everybody has a quilt or two from her, but no, nobody was really, looking into, continuing the process. And I kind of had it in my head because I knew how to sew, and I thought, that'd be cool to continue on that tradition in the family of somebody quilting. And so I picked it up, and this one doesn't seem right. This one doesn't seem right. So I'm gonna have to stop my chain because this one doesn't seem right. Like something didn't happen right because my my sandwich wasn't going right. My sandwich, my nesting seams, my sandwich. Anyway, see how this one is way up here and this is way down here? It's almost like a quarter inch off. And I could feel that when because I was saying I was using my fingers as pins to smash down on the seam, and it just did not seem like it was going right. So that one will have to be taken out and go from there. But these other ones are done. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and clip these ones apart, and then I'll finish the rest. I still have a few more to do. So we'll go ahead and clip these. Alrighty. Yep. This is spring. Spring has sprung. And next month, I'm actually going on a road trip. I'm going on a road trip with my mother. Me and her are doing a road trip. And I had started that one top and I didn't finish it. And so I was thinking, you know what? That would be a really cute blouse to take on this trip. Let me see. It's just sitting over here. It sits over here just watching me. And this is it right here. And this one is just, it's an easy pattern. It's McCall's 6265. It's a tunic. And I had already cut the fabric out. It's just sitting over there watching me every day, like, when are you going to pull me out and do me next? And I was talking to my mother and I said, you know what? I need to finish this and I can take it on the trip next month. And so I really need to get to that. So when I do go ahead and sew that one, maybe I can do it on here. Again, I was trying to go live, but I don't have enough followers. So I need you guys to subscribe to my video so that I can uh, go live. So anyway, Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Making sure my seams are nesting. Alrighty, I'm back. I finished. Go ahead, and I finished stitching all of the units together. And here is my block. And I went ahead and pressed all 24 of them. But I'm wondering with the 24 if it's going to be too big for a baby quilt. But we'll go ahead and continue on and see how it goes. So now with the pattern, now that I have all my blocks here, all 24 of them, now what the pattern has you do is making your rows. So it's four in a row by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. So 4 by 6. So what I'm going to start doing is stitching my rows together. So I'll just take 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and I'll stitch the 4 together. And then after I stitch all 4 together, then I put the rows together. Let me see. Would that be the easiest way to do it? Because I was watching this one lady and she was saying how she chunks it out so that it's not as many. Because I've seen, for the most part, people do that. So the first row, and then they'll put those rows together. But now I'm wondering if I can do it in chunks. Like maybe if I sew like this whole unit together and this whole unit together, this whole unit together, this whole unit, then I have 4 blocks to put together. I think I might try that. I like that idea. So I'll do 2 by 3. I'll do 2 by 3, 2 across, 3 down, and I'll do 4 of those, and then put those 4 together to make it. I think that'd be a great idea. So we'll take the first one and the second one here. And so what I'm going to be doing is stitching these 2 together. These are my rows. So, because we have this long end on the right side, flip it this way. Oh, my seam is crazy. Oh, look at there. And my seams are nesting. Perfect. Thought that when it happened. So again, it's just one seam, but I think I am going to pin. I will pin. So we go again with this, and I'll back stitch, and I got my pin in there where my intersection comes together and my seams are nested. So after I go through that, then I'll make sure this other end is together. So we're just going to use just the one pin. And again, I will chain stitch. So I'm taking the one block, this long side is on this side, flip it here, turn it this way. Yeah, don't get myself confused. Let me see. Okay, I can do this without a pin. Okay, so we will take this out, and let's see. When we take this out, then I would sew these 4 units together to make the one block unit. Oh no, I need 3 rows down. So I need another third one, but I'll go ahead and sew these two together. So this is probably going to be one that I'm going to want to pin. So let's see. We want our seams to nest. So I'm going to turn one way, one the other way, and I will pin. Oh gosh, there's another seam. And these seams are going the same way, unfortunately, but I will pin. And most likely, yep. So there's 3 seams in on this once you start putting it together. And you have this seam, and this seam. And they do on the other side too, this, and this. So you're going to want to make sure these 3 seams. You're going to want to make sure that you do pin those. And so when it gets done, it'll look like that. It looks right. Just checking before I sew because I don't want to sew this long seam and then find out it's wrong. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. This is one section, and I just need to, wait a minute, it goes like this. Oh, I can see the illusion happening. Can't you see that? Oh, this is going to be so cool when I get this done. Okay, so what I need to do is add another row here. And then once I add that second row, then I'll start putting the whole thing together. Okay, so these go this way, this here. Make sure my seam is nested. Alrighty, let me add this one to this one, and this will be my quarter of the unit. This will be 1/4 of the unit being done. Oh, you know what I forgot? I need to pen because this one has all these seams. I just jumped in there and just started doing it. So while it's still under my machine, I am going to go ahead and pin. I'm not going to take it out because I've already backstitched. I'll put a couple more pins in here. And let me do this one. Okay. And I need to do this one way over here. Okay, we're all pinned in. Ooh. I sewed over a pin. I generally don't do that. I don't know what I was thinking or not thinking. It's not good for your machine or the pins. One, you'll have crooked pins. You might break your needle, which if it breaks can fly if you don't have glasses on. If you don't have glasses on as protector and that needle breaks, it could potentially hurt you. Or you can even mess up the mechanism in your machine. So it's a really good idea to try to pull those pins out and not stitch over them. Anyway, here is the reveal of my first unit. Oh man, that's gonna be so cool. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let me do 3 more and we'll see what it all comes together. Okay, I am sewing the last block on these quarters and it's coming together. I think this is the great way of doing it is to do it in quarters versus trying to do the line by line or all together, because then I'll just have it'll be like a big huge 4 patch. Okay, again, this is the block, and I have 4 of these quarters to put together to make the completed quilt. So let's see, how do we want to do this? Do you want to do side to side and straight across? I think that's how we'll do it. We'll do, because it's 4, I broke it up into 4 quarters, so I have 4 patches. So 4 of these units, which is 2 across, 3 down. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew all I'm going to sew the 2 together here, and then 2 together here, and then put those 4 together. If that makes any sense. Alrighty, so this will go here. Okay, it's getting big. So, and along with this, we are going to continue to try to nest our seams if it's possible, if at all possible, nest our seams, but we are definitely going to pin because this is a long seam. So, look at this one next. So, we're going to pin, and I'm mainly just pinning where the seams are because you want your seams to line up. You don't want any crooked seams. And so, and when you're stitching on your sewing machine, you have your feed dogs, and the feed dogs are the part that's on the flat part. They have those little, they're like grippers, and what they're doing is they're gripping the fabric, pushing the fabric, and so you only have it on the bottom, but you don't have it on the top on this machine. And so, with that, when you pin, what that does is that allows the fabric to stay in place and it's not being pulled on the bottom more than the top because you have it pinned. So it's going to keep it staying together. That's why pinning is so important. So your seams will stay together and when you're sewing it, everything will come out right. Okay, here we go. And two, if you pin, I mean, it's just less of that adjusting because you've already figured it all out because you pin. So You don't have to worry about trying to adjust. I mean, you might have a little bit of adjustments, but for the most part, if it's all pinned together, you don't have to worry about it. And you might think that I overpin, but I don't know. I guess that's just the way I am sometimes. Either I'll overpin or I'll take caution to the wind and won't pin at all. So, let's see. This is the bottom half or the top half. But you see how that illusion block is working out? It's coming out so cute. So cute. I am loving it. Okay, so now I just need to do the top half and then put it all together. So can't wait to see how this turns out. Alrighty, so now I've completed the top half. So now what I'm going to do is to put these two halves together to make the whole baby quilt. You know, it's going to be a really big baby quilt, but it'll be fun. Okay, except for the borders, the quilt is pretty much, the top part of it is done. I just need to put the borders on, but it came out really nice. And it came out really big too. So I think these patterns are mainly for lap size. Let me see, what's this coming out to? With all the borders on it, it will be 43.5 by 61.5, which is really big. And like I said, I had decided, because it's 3 borders, I decided I'm just going to do 2 of the borders. So the first border is border number 1, which is this fabric here. And then the second border is this, which is fabric number 2. This is border number 2. And then after I put those 2 borders on, then again, this is my backing. I'm going to use this for my backing and my binding. So this fabric will go up against this fabric here for my binding. Anyway, I'm glad you spent this time with me, and I will post this quilt when it's all completed. And again, I'm getting one of these whips done and moving on to one of my, I think that I'm going to might do that top next, and then get to some more of these UFOs. Bye for now. And again, um, continue to, subscribe, follow, especially subscribe, because I need to get those subscribers so I can start going on live on YouTube. Okay, bye for now.